This is the Good Government Show.
But we're doing something that hasn't been done before, and that's 3 counties coming together to solve a problem that no one county can solve themselves. The reality of life is we all make mistakes, every one of us. And every one of us have been given second chances, third chances. It was a relief to be able to simply look and say, what is the right answer for my community? Good government is doing the right thing without considering the political benefits or the political risks. Thank you to the Good Government Show, because in this day and age, we really need to hear the good work that government does on almost a daily basis.
I always like talking to Berks County Commissioner Christian Leinbach. Usually, I get to meet a government leader. We talk a little bit, we do the show, and if I'm lucky, we catch up at conferences. But that's more of a, hey, Mr. Mayor, how you doing? But Commissioner Leinbach has allowed the show to get sort of involved with Berks County. We catch up on programs we've talked about, and we see how government, at least in Berks County, grows and adapts. Welcome to the Good Government Show. I'm Dave Martin. First, help us share the message of good government by liking us and sharing us where we are. We're on Facebook. We're on X, we're on YouTube, Instagram, and Blue Sky, whichever's your favorite. Please share our show with your friends and review us where you're listening. And join our Good Government Show community. Check out our website for the link. On this show, we talk at length about a new Berks County youth shelter. The program, as you'll hear, is set up to help at-risk youths. Many have no home to go to. Commissioner Leinbach will tell you that by helping these kids, not only are the kids getting the help to turn their lives around, but it's also cost-effective. Effective both today and in the future. This, as you will hear, is a program that aims to steer kids who may be headed for jail away from jail. That's good government. As Christian Leinbach will explain, simply tossing someone in jail, especially non-violent offenders, that isn't a solution. And here's a key takeaway that I hope other elected officials pick up on. Christian's position on this has changed. He's evolved, he said. Changing your mind, seeing a new path, that's good government too. And you're going to hear about how 3 counties in central Pennsylvania got together to work on a regional solution to a specific crime problem. It's a work in progress, but it's a good example of how governments come together on a solution and share the expense. I also got to catch up on one of the first programs we talked about on the show, the R3 program. It's a prison intervention program, and it's still working and still a government success story. So, coming up, my ongoing conversation with our friend Berks County Commissioner Christian Leinbach. Engagement. We hear that all the time on the Good Government Show. Getting people involved in ideas, planning, and projects. It makes government more effective, and that's good government. At the Good Government Show, we use our own engagement tool called Our. That's O-U-R. Ourco has created a way to engage people and create a community. Ourco can create an app just for your city, your school, your community. It's an easy way to engage people and get immediate feedback. You get reliable data on what you can translate into action your community agrees on. Here on the Good Government Show, we have our own Ourco created community. Go to our website, goodgovernmentshow.com, and join it. Then you can join the conversation. Weigh in on what makes good government and give us your ideas that can help good government serve all of us. I mean, that's what government's all about. Good government, anyway. Visit Ourco.com. That's OUR.com and learn how they do it. And while you're there, book a demonstration. It was called the War to End All Wars, but it didn't. 3 royal cousins, all kings, one from England, one from Germany, and one from Russia, blundered their way into a war, a completely avoidable war that left millions dead in the trenches across Europe. Good Government Show executive producer Jim Ludlow details the blunders, mistakes, and bluster that started World War I that didn't end all wars. The book, The Royal Cousins, details the events and creates an alternative history. Imagine if World War I never happened. It didn't have to. Just read it yourself. Download the book today on Amazon. It's just 99 cents and a timely look at history. Welcome to the Good Government Show, the voice of public service. I am very happy to have with me our friend, Christian Leinbach, the Commissioner for Berks County, Pennsylvania. Welcome back.
Very good to be back on the Good Government Show, David. I can't remember, it's 3+ years ago that we did our first show.
We did.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but it is great to be back with you on the Good Government Show.
It is great to have you
back.
And
I love the new tagline, the voice of public service, because that's, from the beginning, that's really what you were celebrating.
Well, we like to think so. And what we're doing now is we're giving a voice to a lot of the people who work in public service to explain what it is public service is all about. And I just want to point out that with this episode, you are our number one guest. You have been a guest more than anyone else on the Good Government Show. We're always happy to have you back, and we're always happy to catch up.
I'll count that as an honor.
Yes, please do. If we had a Hall of Fame, you'd be in it. And as I've said many times, and if this is the first time you're listening to Christian, we would not be here were it not for Christian, because you met our partner, Jim Ludlow, who said, what does the county commissioners do? And a year later, we were at a NACO conference, and here we are at the National Association of Counties in Washington, all because of you. So thanks for giving us the idea, and thanks for coming back.
Thank you. It isn't all just because of me, Jim Ludlow, and yourself. I mean, you've done a great job. You're the one constant. You've been at almost every single NACO conference since then, interviewing people, getting stories, and finding the great stories to tell about the good things government, especially local government. I'm partial to local government, but the good work that government does. When we live in a world where there's a lot of focus on what's wrong with government, we're talking about the good work that government does do every day.
That's what we're trying to do. And thanks to people like you, it's getting done. Now, the reason why you're here, the reason why we're checking in again with you on all things in Berks County, is you have created a new youth shelter. So one of the things we were talking about is, how are people in government spending our money, because it's our money? Tell me why you thought it was important to spend money on a youth shelter for, kids who should be in jail.
Well, there's two groups of youth here that we're talking about. One on the youth shelter are at-risk youth. Okay. They are youth that are very difficult, if not almost impossible to place. Foster families won't take them. They normally are dealing with legitimate mental health issues or some other type of behavioral issue. The youth shelter side is not dealing with adjudicated youth. In other words, youth that have been convicted of a very serious crime. That's youth detention, and we're also working on that. But the youth shelter...
So this is kids who have a rough life.
Rough life, serious problems, and in many cases, no home. They've either been kicked out of their home because of a crisis, or they were hospitalized in mental health and no one will take them back. No foster care will take them. And in some cases, these youth have ended up in a hotel where the county has paid $4,000 to $5,000 a day for security, no programming, a horrible setup. So the youth shelter is something we started to work on.
So these are kids who already have a problem.
Already have a problem.
And they sent them to a youth shelter. They sent them to a hotel with a security guard.
With security guards.
So they're probably not getting better. In fact, they're probably
not getting
worse.
better. Getting worse, and a very expensive cost at getting worse. So in 2023, Berks County said, look, we need to do something about this. We had a facility that was available. We got together with our children and youth services and juvenile probation. Again, not the convicted, serious crime youth, but others that fit this risk model. You can't place them. And in July of 2024, we opened the facility on 2 floors at our North Campus, fully staffed. We've been averaging between 8 and 12 minors on any given day. And it is working very well. We work to get them into either stable homes or stable programs beyond just the temporary program that we provide at the youth shelter. We're now in the process of working with a number of counties that have come to us and said, we need this as well. Can we
before we go there, I'm going to be the guy sitting in the back of the county commissioner room who doesn't want to spend any money.
Right.
Why are we spending all this money to renovate a building for 12 kids who, probably should be somewhere else? Why do we have to pay for it?
2 answers. Number one, we're already paying a tremendous amount of money for a system that doesn't work. When you're paying $4,000 or $5,000 a day to put a kid in a hotel room, that doesn't work.
So what is this costing a day?
This is significantly less. Okay. Number one, the second and third floor that we're utilizing were virtually ready to go because of the prior usage of those facilities. We had to do almost nothing.
Oh.
And so from a cost standpoint, we received a grant from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to launch the program, $6 million that will cover the program over a relatively long period of time. And
$6 million is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but it will cover the program for the foreseeable future.
Is this a good use of public dollars?
It is a good use of public dollars, because if we're not able to help these youth now, and the range of age is 11 to 18. That's the age level. They're going to end up in many cases either in our jail system, or in some cases they're going to end up, if they're not having the mental health issue addressed, they're going to end up in some other type of long care facility, or more likely when it comes to mental health, they're going to end up on our streets. They're going to end up increasing the homeless population. And we've seen that. I had a case 2 years ago with two young people, one 14 years old, one 15 years old, that were in this category that ended up in the local ER, one of them from October of one year to the end of January, because there was no place to put them. And that's unconscionable in this day and age. That doesn't happen now because this program is in place, and it includes education, it includes programming to help get these youth back into society, where they're able to give back to society because they got help, versus just simply being put in some room.
Do you feel like it's the job of government to intervene, to help these kids, to do this?
Well, we're long
take care of them?
past that. Here's the issue. Children and Youth Services, juvenile probation, these youth have been coming through our system for decades.
Right.
And so the question is, what do you do with them? What we've learned, not just for youth, even adults, if all you do is put them in a room, incarcerate them, whatever you want to call it, and you don't do something to address how do we help them return to society and become a valuable member of society in some way, shape, or form, they're stuck in the government dole.
Yeah. And that's
not good for anybody.
To break this down, what you're saying is, we spent $6 million. Yeah, we put together a program that spent $6 million. We renovated a building, we moved people in, we pay staff, they're on the county payroll. But ultimately, the savings are multiplied because we're not spending more money on them down the road.
And and here's the data. We have...
Excuse me for saying this, but this sounds a lot like good government.
It is good government. We have 7 months, so it's very difficult to say, here's how this program is working. But what we can look back and say, what was happening before was unconscionable and was not working. So we're moving forward. The fact that we have other counties in Pennsylvania coming to Berks and saying, look, what is the per diem rate for us to send troubled, at-risk youth to your facility? We can handle up to 20 at-risk youth. And I think we're doing the right thing. And
is that really what it comes down to, is doing the right thing?
It's doing the right thing.
When you walk down the street in Berks and Reading, Pennsylvania, where you live, and you see, people on the street, homeless people, what goes through your mind?
Well, the homeless issue is a whole different program, and I'm very involved in that.
No, but when you see somebody like this that needs help, what goes through your mind?
When I see somebody that's homeless, I ask the question, at least in our county, I know all the programs that are available for them. Why are they here?
Okay.
Are they here by choice? And many of them in our county are there by choice because we have the beds.
Okay.
We have the programs that work, not to just give them a place to sleep or give them food to eat, but actually work to get them back into society. If they're dealing with mental health, if they're dealing with addiction, whatever that issue is, there are programs, Opportunity House, Mary Shelter, the Lighthouse, Hope Rescue Mission, wide variety of groups that do more than just put a person in a bed, put a person in a room. They give them the tools, the career skills, and we'll talk about one of those groups in a little bit.
Sure.
In the R3 program.
We'll get to that.
And what we're trying to do is take young people. These are people that are going to end up in our jails. They're going to end up on the streets if we are not able to help them. So they're getting similar programming, but it's programming targeted to an 11-year-old, to a 12-year-old, to an 18-year-old.
And the solution, just throw them in jail, actually costs more.
It costs more because there's no end in sight. If you throw somebody in jail, especially somebody who's nonviolent,
right,
you're not doing anything to help them. We're far better off if we, and again, we're kind of crossing over here. Let's talk about youth.
Yeah.
If we're talking about youth who the issue is not they assaulted somebody, they murdered an individual, and we have that, and that's our part 2 of youth detention. We're working with a group that we are trying to rehabilitate, that we are trying to help. Our local group, it's called Transformative Solutions, but it's like a council of churches, participates with us. They have a chaplain there, and they meet these kids where they are. If a child is a particular faith, that the council pulls together someone of that faith to help them. We're doing it. We're trying to work with the whole child so that they don't become part of the adult system, whether it's a homeless, mental health, or incarceration.
You've just made a very strong case for why just throw them in jail is a bad solution.
It's a very bad idea. And look, I was there in the 1980s.
You were in jail?
No, the tough on crime guy, the tough on crime.
Okay.
3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah.
You do the crime, you do the time. I don't believe that.
You've evolved.
And I've evolved in this sense. I believe if someone commits a nonviolent crime, putting them in jail is the worst thing you can do. The best thing you can do in a truly nonviolent crime, community service, keep them in whatever job they're already in, make sure they're earning money so that they can pay their fines, they can pay their restitution, and show them the pathway back. Again, we're not talking about violent criminals,
right.
Nonviolent.
You also have according Berks County, which is Reading, Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania. I guess you declared an emergency youth detention, and you're making some strides in that area.
Yes, we are.
What are you doing?
So youth shelter, at risk, nonviolent youth, mental health issues, etc.
Right.
That already is up and running. Youth detention is specifically about violent youth that have committed violent crimes. And the crisis is such that last February 2024, we declared an emergency at the request of our president judge, our district attorney, the head of APO and JPO. And what was shared with us is the crisis that we have right now is the youth aren't afraid because they know they can commit violent crimes and they'll end up with an ankle monitor. Worse yet, our DA has made this very clear and quite public. The gangs know that. And so you have adults running a number of these gangs, and they specifically send out kids that are minors to commit these violent crimes because they know that there's no place to put them. So the youth detention facility, we have an older youth detention facility, is going to require about $17 million in renovations to get it ready. And we realize that's too much. We can't afford that in our county.
That sounds like a lot of money.
We partnered with Dauphin County in central Pennsylvania, Lehigh County, and you're familiar, one of your other guests before has been Phil Armstrong.
Yes.
Phil is very supportive of this.
Okay.
Lehigh County and Berks. And last year, all 3 counties publicly supported resolutions to begin a joint venture. So each of us are going to run this together, whether it'll be an authority or a joinder.
So all three counties in central Pennsylvania are teaming up together.
Teaming up on a facility.
I hate to say this to you again. This sounds like more good government.
It does sound like more good government. And right now, we're working with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Secretary Val Arkush, Secretary of Human Services, also a former county commissioner in Montgomery County, individual I know well.
So you go back?
To work with us and helping to fund this. The challenge with it is time and money. And we are probably still a year and a half away from being able to open that facility, but we're doing something that hasn't been done before, and that's 3 counties coming together to solve a problem that no one county can solve themselves.
All right. Well, that's good government.
Yep.
That's sharing best practices on another level, because not only are you sharing the idea, you're working together on the idea.
And it's saving money.
Sure.
Could we go ahead and do it ourselves? Yeah, but we'd have to have a significant tax increase because of the cost of running an operation like this is so expensive, much more so than a youth shelter.
One of the first stories we ever did on the Good Government Show back 4 years ago, we traveled to Berks County, and we checked in on the R3 program. And I'll just feel free to inject if I did get it badly. The R3 program was 2 women who worked in the county corrections division.
Peggy Kirshner, Nikki Schnavel, and actually they're another nonprofit that works with us, partners. At the time, it was Berks Pretrial Services, and they are still co-executive directors. I think it may be the only organization I work with that have co-executive directors, and it actually works. These 2 ladies think alike.
Right, but they sat down and they said, we're running people through a program that takes them out of jail and tries to teach them a skill, to teach them a better way, and it wasn't working.
Correct.
And they sat down and they said, what are we doing wrong? And they came up with a solution. It's the R3 program. And I think it started in 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
They've had almost 500 people enrolled. And this is what's impressed me the most about this program. And I want to see if this is still true. They have 68%, almost 70% of the people who have gone through the system have graduated successfully.
Yeah, it's not a rubber stamp. You sign up, you automatic. Not everyone graduates.
65% of those people are still working 1 year later, full time. And I think you've got the recidivism rate down to under 4%.
Under 4%.
Which means that of the 500 people who've gone through some 500 that have gone through the program, only 4% of those people have ever got arrested again, which is astronomically high numbers.
It's phenomenal. And here's what's interesting.
Because nationwide, it's like 60%
absolutely.
have gone back to jail, right?
And a lot of that happens because people need to be shown another way.
Right.
And Peggy and Nikki in 2010 launched career fairs for people coming out of our jail and coming out of our what we call treatment courts, a drug court, veterans court, mental health court. And those career fairs were great, and a lot of people got hired, but they saw a lot of people still cycling back, and they said, what is missing? And there's 2 things. One, they said, let's give them some trades training. And so they work with groups like Reading Muhlenberg Votech.
And Habitat for Humanity.
Habitat for Humanity, and a group called Associated Builders and Contractors. And they get limited but training nonetheless, masonry work, electrical work, plumbing work, carpentry work.
But as I recall, the most important component here is show up to work on time.
Cognitive skills, the other side.
Bring your lunch.
Making good decisions.
Yes.
And showing up, having your lunch ready. Recognizing you can't go back to the same friends that you had before. The environment matters.
Have a bank account.
Absolutely.
Stuff
and
like
so
that.
they talk about, and they not only talk about it, most of the testing is around that cognitive side.
Okay.
That they are able to show, I really learned something.
How's the program going?
The program is going very, very well.
Still a success?
Still a success. We just had a graduating class on Friday.
Did you speak?
At 10 o'clock. I did not. I was all on the radio at the same time. Both of my commissioner colleagues, Commissioner Rivera, Commissioner Santoni, both spoke.
But you spoke at many of these.
I speak at almost every single one. And here's my message to the men and women, and we have both men and women that go through. It's overwhelmingly male because of the population. But I tell them, look, the reality of life is we all make mistakes, every one of us. And every one of us have been given second chances, third chances, and you have made the first major decision when you said, I want to be part of this program. And now you've gone through the program, you've graduated. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't make it. You've already made the first change, and keep going forward. And I've watched many of these young people come back. I shouldn't say young people. Many of them, they're 20, 30, 40, 50. I've seen even folks in their 60s. But I see many of them come back and give testimony to the graduating class, how it changed their life and what they're doing today because of this program. It absolutely works.
I remember one of the guys I talked to graduated from the program, but went to work at a restaurant. Mm-hmm. And I think the last time I checked in with him, he had graduated from being a dishwasher to something else. I don't suppose you follow any of that.
I do.
Is that kid, how's he doing?
Well, I don't know about that one, but
okay.
Kayla,
Yeah.
I just saw her last week at the Wyomissing Restaurant and Bakery.
And?
She's a young lady that came through the program. She's doing great. And when I see her, I hadn't seen her for a while. She came up, she waited on me, and I said, Kayla, right? She said, yes. And how are you doing? She said, I'm doing great.
Good.
And that happens because, again, not just the skill set, but learning how to make good decisions.
All right, we're going to hear more about your thoughts on government. We're going to come right back after this. Once you wrap up this episode of The Good Government Show, give a listen to our friends over at Good News for Lefties. This daily podcast highlights news stories that show there's more good news out there. Other people in government are really trying to do the right thing. That's Good News for Lefties. Listen where you're listening now. After you get done with this episode, hear more good government stories with our friends at How to Really Run a City. Former mayors Kasim Reed of Atlanta and Michael Nutter of Philadelphia, and their co-host, journalist and author Larry Platt, talk with guests and other mayors about how to really get stuff done in cities around the nation. Check them out where you're listening now or through their nonprofit news site, thephiladelphiacitizen.org/podcasts. All right. We are back. We are talking with Christian Leinbach, and we are about to get into the questions here. But before I do that, I know you wouldn't let me not talk about this. You've been trying to get train service in Reading. Mm-hmm. How's it coming?
It is moving forward. We're working with the Federal Rail Administration. We are one of 26 or 27 programs around the country that are in the Corridor ID program. We're finishing up step 1, getting ready to move into step 2. Amtrak will be our operator. We're working on the service agreement, and very shortly we should be sitting down with Norfolk Southern, who has the main track system that we need to utilize, and beginning negotiating with them.
But I'll be able to take a train from New York to Reading soon. 5
to 6 years
It'll be
away yet. It'll be a while.
Well, let's get into it. We've changed this since the last time we spoke. We have our questionnaire that we ask everyone. Once again, what is your definition of good government?
My definition of good government might be a little bit different than some. I believe it comes down to leaders that are willing to pull away the politics, including our own. For me, I believe I became, when I was thinking about running for a higher office, no matter what I would tell myself, it affects the way you make decisions because you're thinking about the next race. When I stopped doing that, probably 8 or 9 years ago, it was a relief to be able to simply look and say, what is the right answer for my community? And you get that answer by working with a team. So when we look at the R3 program, that's really not about me. That is about the team that's in place and the work that they do, and simply listening and understanding, here's an answer, this can work. Good government is doing the right thing without considering the political benefits or the political risks.
Take politics out of it.
Take it out.
Just deliver good government.
Take it out.
All right. If people are frustrated with government, if they don't like what they're doing, if they look at you and they go, this Leinbach guy doesn't have it, what should they do?
They should speak up, but I think also we have a responsibility. And one of the things that I do, I return phone calls. I called someone this week.
Yeah.
We do town halls in our community every month of the year except June, July, and August and December, where we, all three commissioners, go out, meet in our local library, we advertise it, and take questions. Any question. We don't have staff there to cover
no
for
filters.
Us. No filters.
So come talk to you.
Yeah. So I'm very easy to get a hold of, and I'm willing to listen and willing to give you an answer.
This is the Good Government Show. We are the voice of public service. What made you decide to get into public service?
At the time, back in 2006, we had a dysfunctional county government, in part due to a commissioner that was in the newspaper on a pretty regular basis. I decided I can do better than that.
All right.
Got involved and actually tell people I thought I knew what county government was when I ran. I did my research. I had a good message. But when I got involved in county government as an elected official starting in 2008, I found out it was much, much more, that it touched people's lives on a daily basis in a way that I hadn't ever realized and made a fundamental difference and is an opportunity to really make a difference in my community. And I think I've done that.
And for how many years have you been a public
I'm in my
commissioner?
18th year as a county commissioner.
All right, that's not nothing. That's a lot.
No, it says a lot about my job interview that occurs every 4 years.
Yeah.
People don't like what you do,
You're out.
you're gone.
Who inspires you? Who continues to inspire you?
There's two things. My hero in government, no comparison actually to anybody else, is Abraham Lincoln. A man that when you look at what he came from, had every reason to fail. And yet he himself was committed to learning and committed to a country and committed to doing whatever it took. If you read a lot of Lincoln's material,
I read
he
Sandberg's
was
Lincoln.
a huge. What's
Didn't
that?
finish it. I read half of Sandberg's Lincoln.
Sandberg is rough.
Yeah.
I didn't even get that far. But
I got halfway.
Team of Rivals, an amazing book by Darce Kearns Goodwin. It really gets into his life. There's a number of other.
Well, he built a cabinet together.
Put the cabinet
of all the people who opposed to
his
him.
opponents.
Right.
And how
we
that
could talk
really
history for a
worked.
while. We should keep going.
But that is he is a factor. And one of the things I learned from him is read all the time. I just finished a book a week ago called MacArthur by Arthur Herman, relatively recent book, fabulous. But I'm always reading. Freedom's Forge is another book I finished probably 2 months ago about free enterprise, World War II, FDR, and Bill Knudsen, who was the father of the modern assembly line. He perfected the Henry Ford assembly line for Henry Ford. He developed the change a model assembly line for Chevy, and then was brought in to fundamentally change how the United States government and Department of Defense prepared for World War II.
18 years as a county commissioner, what would you like people to know about how government works from the inside?
Number one, don't assume that what you see in social media or read in the media is the whole story. 99% of the time, it's not even close to the whole story. Ask questions. Contact your elected official.
That goes back to reach out to them.
It does.
Okay.
And try to ask questions. Try not to accuse. It gets really tough sometimes when you have people yelling at you to back up and say, okay, I understand. They don't see what I see, the iceberg, the tip, everything underneath it.
Well, 18 years, you've probably had to take some abuse.
Right.
So what's the best part of the job?
The best part of the job is being able to see results that change people's lives. I still give one of the greatest examples was a grandparents that contacted my office that were having problems in children and youth, being able to be the source and home for their granddaughter. Their granddaughter's family had just blown apart, and 9 times out of 10, when somebody calls and says, I'm having a problem with Children and Youth Services, there's a lot more to the story. This one was different. We got involved, and ultimately, they not only got custody of their granddaughter, they adopted their granddaughter and invited me and my executive assistant to the adoption hearing. That's something where we made a difference. That issue was so close to going off the rails that I know that if I hadn't gotten involved, they would have not been able to get custody and would have never been able to adopt their granddaughter.
What keeps you up at night?
Extremism. Extremism on the left and extremism on the right. It's the thing I find so discouraging. We're in an environment right now where the extremes can't even talk to each other, and you can't solve problems if you can't sit down and work through the problem with the opposition.
Do you feel like on a local level, at least in Berks County, you've addressed that and been successful on any level? We've
been successful to this extent. I've been reelected multiple times while in the heat of those conflicts.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's solved by any stretch. I think people like myself and others need to stand up, be a voice of reason, not be afraid.
But that's hard.
Of the attacks of the extreme.
Yeah.
But also not let the noise drown out the majority, because that's the hardest thing for me. I hear the noise, and at times the noise seems to take over, and I begin to equate noise with quantity, and that's rarely the case.
Well, a good start.
It is.
Did you always, I mean, I know your background a little bit. You started off in advertising and marketing. Did you always envision a career in public service eventually?
So always no. There was a point in college where I visited 2 Iron Curtain countries where I have relatives, Hungary and Czechoslovakia, in 1979 for 5 weeks. 2 of my aunts took me, and I lived with relatives. It changed my life, and to this extent, you, as a kid, your parents tell you don't know how blessed you are and how great you have it. I came back from that experience, and I said, oh my goodness, I really have it great. And I came out of college, I wanted to be president. I worked in the Reagan campaign in South Carolina as a volunteer in 1980, and I ran for office right out of the gate in 1982, actually ran for an endorsement, lost the endorsement, but I supported the gentleman that won, a local farmer, Art Hershey. My wife and I did his campaign, and he won in 82 and 84. He was in office till 2006. But my political career as far as full-time didn't happen until 2008 when I became a Berks County commissioner. Prior to that, just virtually all in the private sector. First construction, and then 92 on in the advertising industry.
We've talked about Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine, but I want to know what you do for fun. What do you do for fun when you're off?
And anyone that knows me is I love the outdoors. I love to hike. This past Sunday, I was up at Hawk Mountain Sanctuary in northern Berks County, hiking by myself, even though there was snow and ice on the ground, and got the beauty of seeing, for my first time in the wild, a porcupine at the end, climbing up a tree.
All right.
So, no, I love the outdoors, and I especially love to hike with my grandkids. My 3, if you say oldest, 9, 7, and 5, love to go hiking with me.
Are they several steps ahead of you?
Yes, and I have to tell them, slow down.
Grandpa will be right with you.
I'll be with you.
This is the Good Government Show. We always bring it back to good government. Tell me about any good government project you're working on where you're spending the people's money wisely.
The Reading Regional Airport. We took a direct leadership role in that a little over 2 years ago. And for the first time in decades, the airport activity, aviation activity, is growing. We signed at the end of last year, signed a 29-year extension with our largest aviation customer. We do not have commercial air service, but since late September, we've been talking to a commercial air carrier. I met with them 2 weeks ago. Some really great things on the horizon. We're going to be building a brand new 24,000 square foot box hangar.
Okay.
And all of that with no county taxpayer money. The airport is an authority, and it's been in the black and continues to grow.
So I might be able to fly into Reading before I take the train into Reading.
You might be able to do
right.
that. I think that's actually more likely.
More likely. Well, we have been talking with our good friend, one of the best friends of the Good Government Show, Christian Leinbach, County Commissioner from Berks County, Pennsylvania. Christian, it is always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for catching up. It's always good to hear about the good work you're doing in Berks County, and your support for the Good Government Show has allowed us to flourish, we hope. Well, thank you.
Thank you, David, and thank you to the Good Government Show, because in this day and age, we really need to hear the good work the government does on almost a daily basis.
All right, well, tell all your friends and keep listening. Thanks, Christian.
Thank you.
In the city of Fate, Texas, they don't leave good government up to, well, fate. Join me for another show I host, As Fate Would Have It. My co-host is David Billings, the former mayor of Fate, who shares his opinions and thoughts on what good government is in Fate. As you'll hear, they don't leave it up to fate. So listen right here where you're listening now to As Fate Would Have It. Talking about the youth shelter, it came down to this. Commissioner Christian Leinbach and his staff in Berks County, Pennsylvania, took a look at what was going on and said, this isn't working. And they made a change. Christian said it comes down to what government is about. It's simply doing the right thing. The right thing for both the people who are in the program and the right thing really for all residents. They're going to see benefits down the road with less people in jail and the county spending less money on criminal justice. That's good government. Always a pleasure to talk to our friend Christian Leinbach. And it's great to be able to follow up on good government projects we've talked about already on the show. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for listening. Please like us and share us with your friends and review us right here where you're listening. And check out our website, goodgovernmentshow.com, for extras. Help us keep telling stories of good government in action everywhere. And join us again for another episode right here. I'm Dave Martin, and this is The Good Government Show. The Good Government Show is a Valley Park production. Jim Ludlow, Dave Martin, that's me, and David Snyder are the executive producers. Our show is edited and produced by Jason Stershic. Please subscribe, then share us, and like us and review us. That's the best way to make sure we're able to keep telling these stories of our government working for all of us. Then listen to the next episode of The Good Government Show.